The Dallas Stars remain undefeated in the preseason after another win past 60 minutes. We'll break it all down. We'll ask if Glen can put a stop to some slow starts this year and how his influence is shaping this year's Stars club.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. The Dallas Stars remain undefeated in the preseason. They take game 2 by a final score of 3-2 in overtime over the Minnesota Wild. Tyler Seguin with the game-winning goal for the Dallas Stars in overtime, set up by Miro Heiskanen, and the score may have not shown it, but the Dallas Stars were certainly the better team. The Wild just sent a hockey team to Dallas in the American Airlines Center, but credit to them. They played hard, but the Stars had long stretches and moments of just complete domination. The second period, they outshot the Wild 13-2. They outshot the Wild in the third period 15-9. The shot on goal totals were 37-21 in favor of Dallas, and they were just running ragged and running roughhouse inside the Minnesota zone. They played strong. They played physical. What I really enjoy out of some of the guys lower in the lineup, some of these guys that may not sniff the NHL the next couple of years, but guys like Glen and Ernie, Schlein, Ertl, they just play hard, and they do bring some intensity to the preseason, which I think is a good thing for the veteran heavy lineup for Dallas. Glen dropped the mitts in the third period, and it got the crowd going. I think it probably got the bench going a bit too, just seeing a young guy like that go out, took on a bigger guy in Merrick, and there wasn't a ton of punches thrown, but the fact that he's in there mixing up, and the Stars just played really strong and physical along the walls was nice to see. There was a lot of preseason defending in this. I mean, the Stars had, maybe a dozen to 20 odd man rushes in the game. They hit the post a couple of times early. Seguin looked great. He had 3 or 4 tasty opportunities, just couldn't bury one, of course, until the overtime period. Robo was all over the place. I mean, the guys you expected to look good. We talked about it on yesterday's episode. Hence, Robo, Rantanen, saying and all them, they're going to look awesome. They're going to look good. They're going to be the best players on the ice, and they certainly were. The Stars should have had almost 10 goals tonight, it feels like, after all the missed opportunities. But they looked good. They looked comfortable, as you would expect. I don't know if there's a ton I can take away systematically, or any changes in Dallas's system necessarily, but I think there is a bit more of toughness. I really do. And maybe I just am seeing things that I want to see, but I feel like there is some more intensity in that department. There was a play where Hintz went into a corner, laid a body check on a Wild defender, and it creates a turnover, and then Robo has a good opportunity in front. So it leads to a scoring chance. And we saw Dallas win a lot of board battles along the wall. They move it to the point. Lundqvist was really active offensively. He took a penalty tonight, but playing with Harley, it gives him an opportunity to be more offensively minded. They want him to be aggressive. Brent Severin mentioned that multiple times on the broadcast, but I thought they looked really good, as expected. I don't know if you can take much out of a Wild team where 98% of that roster is not going to sniff an NHL game, but the Stars looked good, although they won 3-2 in overtime. One of the most nonchalant overtime goals I ever saw. I think it was Hinostroza, who was back checking for the Wild, just completely gave up from about the red line in, and Miro just coasts and throws it through the legs of the defender and Seguin had a wide open net. I mean, Cal Peterson, probably the most impressive player on the ice. The Wild netminder looked incredible. he was sharp and excellent in the contest. The Stars made his life hard, but he looked good too. I was surprised Ottinger got the whole game. So Ottinger had to make some key saves. He had some nice stops in the contest. I'm curious to look at some of the expected goals numbers. I always like to look at those. At 5-on-5, the Stars had expected goals for 2.79. It was 0.75 for the Wild. So that kind of tells you how the night went. Pretty dominating stuff from Dallas, really outside of the scoreboard. A power play looked good at times. They were just whipping it rink wide. Just could not hit the net. They probably want to funnel some more pucks on net, but the puck movement was crisp. And overall for Dallas, they were pretty sharp. And again, they had a good chunk of their top 6 in the game and pretty much their entire decor. One of the players that's not going to be expected to be up is Trey Taylor. I really like his game. I keep saying it. I talk about him a lot here over the last few weeks, but I enjoy watching him play. He's a little bit undersized, but he moves really well, and I think he makes pretty sound decisions. And it was probably nice to see him play up with Labushkin and get some time with guys that have NHL experience. So I really enjoy watching him play. Made a couple of really nice passes. And the Stars just overall were really well connected. But probably more importantly than anything is they played hard. And for a preseason game, it means nothing. But it was good to see guys. I mean, we saw Robertson back checking 150 feet in a preseason game. We saw Rantanen in 3-on-3 when they gave away possession. Rantanen's back checking to at least get a stick there. We saw Lundqvist track back in that third period to not allow a pass get across. It means nothing. It doesn't show up on the start in the score sheet. No one would have faulted them if they didn't want to get back hard. But I think that's good to see. I think that means the coaching staff is holding each of these guys accountable. And let's face it, guys like Lundqvist especially, and some others, like it's a new face, it's a new guy. You want to make first impressions. You want to make good impressions. And I think that's just good to see overall from some of the veteran guys for Dallas. Even Duchesne, Seguin in their mid-30s. It's just a walk in a park. They don't need to be in these games necessarily, but they are, and they're working hard. And they made plays in exactly what you'd expect. There's a power play. The Stars had like a 4-on-1 from the below the tops of the circles. There's a lot of preseason defending out there, and that was to be expected. And Dallas should have scored more, but they did what had to be done. They given the fans some good entertainment. Hey, credit to Stars fans. The building looked packed. That looked like a really fun atmosphere. So. Credit to Stars fans as well for packing the building, and they were having a good time. And the Stars certainly looked like the better team. They were the aggressor, and I'm sure Minnesota will probably follow suit on Thursday. I don't expect the entire top 6 of Dallas to travel to Minnesota here on a Thursday to take on the Wild. We may get a better look at what the Wild are going to trot out next season, but all in all, fun contest. A lot of stuff to kind of get into. I think there are a few things that I'll maybe mention a bit later on about maybe some certain things that Dallas is working on. I think it's showing, especially on the way they kind of move the puck up the ice. It feels like they are holding on to some pucks more, maybe working a bit more east-west before moving it up. Also, some wingers in the neutral zone seem to be a little bit more active in some areas that we'll touch on too. But I did want to talk about and touch on some of the slow start theory, and it's really a problem that's plagued multiple coaches. It wasn't DeBoer only. It can go back to Monty, Bonus even, and if Gulutzan maybe is the guy to put a stop to it. So I wanted to get into that, and we'll do that some more in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to be ready for kickoff, but FanDuel will be, and so will you, because right now new customers can bet just $5 if your bet wins. You'll get $300 in bonus bets just to use across the app. FanDuel is a lot of fun. It allows you to bet however you like, whether that's player props, building a same-game parlay. You can jump in on the live action as it unfolds, and it's not just if you're watching your favorite team, maybe you're watching your favorite player or fantasy lineup like I am every single weekend. It's quick, it's easy, and adds a little bit more energy to your weekend. Sundays, Saturdays, you got college football, of course, and it's not just football, right? We got postseason baseball upcoming. We got the NHL season about to kick into gear. All different sports for you to get in on the action. And your first $5 bet, if you win, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So you ready to play, Stars fans? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. So this was something that just popped into my mind, and it's not like the Stars. This is not because of what occurred tonight, although the Stars did give up the opening goal on the power play from a one-time blast from the top of the zone. But we seem to be plagued here in Dallas. Look at the last couple postseasons, or just last 5 years or so, where the Stars get ran out of the building in the first 8 minutes. It's 3-0. And then, DeBoer's pulling Ottinger or Jamie Benn cross-checks Mark Stone in the face. And your series is just, it feels like it's over in a matter of seconds for whatever reason. And they always seem to happen at home, which is even more mind-boggling. But I'm curious because of Gulutzan's approach, and he uses the term road hockey. He wants to play more road hockey. That's sort of his style, whether that's on the power play or really anything, road hockey. Will that finally put it into these starts where they just look lethargic and they walk themselves into issues right away, and you find yourself playing from behind? Remember, I think the Stars in the 19 postseason games they played in, they trailed in 18 of them. The fact that they made it to the Western Conference Final with a stat like that is remarkable, because playing from behind is not winning hockey. And the idea of trying to play through the opponent and be tougher to play against, that hand-to-hand combat term he's used a lot. I'm curious if that helps Dallas knock that away. Because, again, this wasn't just a DeBoer thing. We saw that with a lot of different coaches. It's just and maybe this is also just something that plagues a lot of different teams, and maybe because we watch the Stars so closely, it feels like they always get off to these slow starts. But especially last season, where they get better as the game goes on, and I'll take that. But if you can come out and just put your boot on someone's throat a bit earlier and take control of the game, it's good to see. And you can see it even look at the third period. The first 3 shifts, they get 2 goals immediately. Right off the rush. What a play by Robertson too. Harley moves it up quickly. Robo delays through the legs. Rantanen, and that shot was sick. Just one motion, stick off of it, off the post and in. Like, thanks for coming, Peterson. That was sick. Can't wait to watch that for 82 games. He's remarkable. Some of the play, I've said it all last year. Once the Stars got him, I really enjoy watching him play along the walls. On the power play in that third period, he's so smooth. He skates so well for a bigger guy, and just so nifty off the wall. Takes possession, moves it back, and a little bit of a tangent there, but that was a pretty sweet goal. And then Robo, a couple shifts later, is just like digging after a puck. There probably should have been a whistle. That goal should not have counted. It was under Peterson's leg. I mean, Robo took like 2 hacks at it. That goal would have been taken back in the regular season. But you'll take it, because Robo took like 3 whacks under it, and finally the third blast, it trickled through, and there was like 4 guys in white sweaters. So like, look at the ref. We're just going to allow Robo to do that. It's a preseason. This is Robo's house. He can do what he wants. Robo looked awesome as well. He could have had 4 on the night. But like, again, that third period, they come out with that intensity. There was obviously something was said at the intermission dressing room. Like, hey, I know this is just an opportunity for us to get our legs wet or get our legs moving, kind of get back in game action to some degree. But let's take it to them now. And boom, that third period, and they carry that over from the second. As I mentioned, they outshot him 13-2 in the second period. But then boom, they finally hit the net 2 times, and it's like, there it is. We know that's in there. It's about getting there right away. And I think some of that will also sort of seep into, the postseason time and how Gulutzan has talked about over the summer. He wants them to be more physical throughout the preseason. That way it's not foreign to them come playoff time. They can just kind of ramp up the intensity and boom, they'll be ready for it. And I think you can say the same. I mean, I think that probably bleeds in. Slow starts bleed into your game. And if you allow it to continue, it becomes contagious to some degree, and they have to knock that out. So I am curious if he puts a stop to that, just because of how he wants the Stars to play a little bit more physical and harder. I think that'll also help with even a fourth line like Faksa and Bastian and Beck, whatever the trio is going to be. We saw this a lot during, the bonus Monty days. You had the FCC line with Faksa, Como, Cogliano. Like, they would start games and they would, spend 45 seconds, the offensive zone, get out. I think that will really help. They have some, a prototypical checking line instead of 4 lines that you're looking to score in skate. I think that can also helps you set a tone a bit early. But I think that third period, like, if you can start games like that, that's where you want to get to. Easier said than done, of course, but you get 2 goals, couple shifts, then boom, Glen drops the mitts against a bigger guy. That's if you can get to that more consistently, it puts you in a much better spot, right? You can't consistently trail, and the Stars have made a living on some incredible comebacks. I mean, they scored. Rantanen had to put on the cape and have a third period hat trick to take down the Avs in Game 7. But I mean, you look at that game, you look at the game against Edmonton in Game 5. Like, you just get ran out of the building the first 8 minutes of the contest. And yeah, they may have gotten back into the game, but when you spot the other team 3 goals, it's nearly impossible to get back to even and level. And the more irritating fact and infuriating, I guess, the word I'm looking for is you don't even make it work for it. At least make the team earn it, instead of allowing Corey Perry and Janmark with a breakaway and point blank. There's just no resistance. At least make the team earn it a bit. So I feel like maybe Gulutzan is going to be able to put a stop, put an end to some of that nonsense, especially early in games. And really, you see it against, I guess, inferior opponents. We've seen that a lot. Look at the Sharks, and I know they're getting better. Columbus, Chicago, they just allow these teams to hang around, and it just puts too much pressure on you in some nights. It's like a Tuesday. Like, just bury these teams early. And look, you're not going to coast past anybody. It's the NHL. But when you're clearly the better team, you clearly are sending more pucks on net, you got possession, you're doing all the right things, but maybe you're just not bearing down on chances. The first 2 periods, they're just allergic to scoring. And I know it's the preseason, but I know there's some of you out there like, oh my God, deja vu. I'm getting flashbacks of the last 2 months of the season where they just could not buy a goal. It didn't matter who they were playing. They make every goaltender look like Patrick Waugh some nights. And Peterson, he had some stretches where he was looking like Waugh, and eventually the Stars were able to perforate him a couple times. But that is one thing I'll be curious to watch as the season kind of gets underway. And we still got 4 more preseason games before we wrap it all up. And, of course, we got the regular season starting here in about under a month, which is a lot of fun. So look forward to that as well. Now, some of the things I want to talk about the Gulutzan influence a bit. Maybe some things I saw. Maybe I'm just bonkers. But as we all know on this podcast, I have the right answers. And I'm going to give them to you here in this next segment. So we'll do that in just a moment. Hey, Stars fans, appreciate all the love and support as always here on Locked On Stars. I want to try to get to 5,000 subscribers. We're almost there, nearly there. So let's continue to pump up those numbers. Would really appreciate that. I know some of you maybe are new, just now joining the show. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Be sure to subscribe. You can drop a comment as well. Like reading through those. Hit the notification bell. Never miss an episode. We're rocking and rolling every single day here. I know I'm a bit up and down with certain times. So I'm going to get these out. But I'll be traveling a bit. Currently in Minnesota. Got the Ice Rays at the Showcase this year, or this week, which will be a lot of fun. 2-0 start, baby, just like the Stars in the preseason. So we're rocking and rolling, and look forward to this week. Got 3 games on tap. And hopefully my voice will be appearing in all of them, because by the end of the week, I probably will not have one. But that's okay as long as we pick up a few wins. But back to the task at hand here with Gulutzan. There was a few things I noticed. I watched really intently the third period. I'm not going to be I'm not going to lie and say I was locked in the first two. The third period was, and there were a couple things that I noticed. And this sort of goes back to, I think, what Gulutzan mentioned a couple times about Dallas maybe holding on to some pucks more, especially when they win possession in their own zone. Sevi brought this up multiple times. Along the wall in their own zone, it felt like Stars were collapsing on guys. A forward would come over and help out more consistently. And getting back to, we saw this under DeBoer. I felt like the first couple of years under him where the Stars would just swarm the puck carrier and try to win back possession that way. And then they kind of weirdly, slowly got away from that. It felt like maybe it was personnel. I don't know, but they certainly took on more water, and the amount of pucks or amount of shots they were giving up was just not really, it was a bit uncharacteristic of them in some ways, but the Stars seemed to really, shut down things along the wall. And I feel like under DeBoer, the Stars really wanted to get up. Like if the puck was on the strong side, they were moving up the wall and they were trying to get out that way. I felt like I saw certain times where maybe it was Taylor, even Lundqvist, they would kind of peel back. They'd find their partner, whether it was Harley, Labushkin, and then they would move it up. They kind of move it east-west, then kind of get it up the sheet. I saw a lot too, or Dallas, if they did go up the strong side, and this maybe isn't a characteristic of just Stars, but you see this a lot with Robo, especially. If he's the sort of the weak side winger, like he hauls ass. He gets over to the strong side. They chip it there, and he gets that way. And the Stars could create some offense off the rush that way. And we saw that, I think, a bit in the goal with Robertson. Right, they kick it back to Harley. Harley's backpedaling, then a quick spring pass. Robo's at the opposing blue line, and then you have Rantanen barreling down the middle, put it on his stick. Well, not down the middle. I guess you had the center lane drive. I think it was Seguin. Could have been Duchesne, but he takes the guy with him, opens up that passing lane, east-west, Robo, Rantanen, back of the net. And we saw a lot of that. I think, Harrison Scott did that a few times. I really liked his game. He was somebody that kind of shined to me. And this sort of goes also just to that physicality aspect. He was dogging in front of that crease. He knocked down the bigger defender. He is just trying to jam and bat pucks home. But there is just that level of intensity that we've seen. And some of it, look, I get it. It's probably AHL guys that are trying to turn heads and make an impact, but they have to, right? And I think that is infectious. And it's good for everybody involved. Like Ernie, I thought was excellent. That third period was really heavy. And he's another guy. We talked about Feeder yesterday that just signed an entry-level contract. Ernie coming from the prospect games has looked really, really solid coming over. Just some numbers on those. Like Ernie had 7 hits. He was credited with 7 hits on the night. Like it was the next closest Star had 3. You had Cross Hannes, the Dallas guy. It was really unfortunate to hear he went off with an injury in the second period, but it looked like he may have gutted it out in the third. Oh, if he hits the net, he would have scored on that. I think it was Schlane that set him up. And he was pumping down the middle of the zone and set him up with a perfect pass. And Hans just blew it wide. He had the net. If he hits the net, he buries that. But he looked good in that third period too. It was good to see him tough it out. They mentioned a couple times, a lot of friends and family there. It's great to see him suit up, and he played well down the stretch. But Ernie, 7 hits, working hard. Like they had some physical. I mean, even Rantanen, he threw a kind of an elbow at that one guy at the end of regulation. That was Rantanen. Like, are you really doing this right now? In the dying seconds of regulation, like, get off me. And he threw a bit of an elbow. I think it was a partial dive from that guy too, but that was good that was fun to see. I think, Lindell, Heiskanen's moving good. That's something to take away. After coming off that injury, I know he came back in the postseason, but a full summer of training, getting back, he ended up playing 22 minutes on the night, 22. Hartley played 22:49. Up front, Robo played 21 minutes on the night. So it's not like Gulutzan is keeping these guys minutes down. Like he's getting them out there, and I think that's good. They need it too. I think it's probably more important under Gulutzan now for these guys to play more, just so they can continue to work on things than under year 2 or year 3 under DeBoer, just because they are trying to implement some newness, right? They're trying to get some different influence, but I do think there is some characteristics you can see a bit. Again, like the Wild just sent a hockey team to Dallas today. It was a hockey team. And for the most part, the Stars could do whatever they want, but there is little things in here like, okay, that may be a bit different. But once they go up against some better competition, of course, it will certainly either expose them or maybe enhance whatever they're trying to do. But so did want to highlight some of those points before we ended it here today. But Gulutzan 2-0, undefeated to begin his tenure here in the preseason. Never a bad thing. Well, the Stars almost went undefeated last year too. They maybe did. Hey, it's all about winning, up and down. It doesn't matter when. You want to be in the winner's circle. Am I right? So that's what it's all about. So we'll see if they can continue that. They got the Wild on Thursday, and then next week they got the Avs a couple times. So I may make a trip out there to the Grand Casino Arena. It's the X, but I may make a trip. We'll see. We got a tight turnaround here in Minnesota for the showcase games, but we'll see. I may have to make a trip out there, see the fellas in action in person. But that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Stars. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And we'll see you on the next episode of Locked On Stars. So long, Stars fans.